Welcome to this Sustainable Aviation Futures content piece, where we interview leading representatives from the finance industry to showcase opportunities in securing finance and investment for SAF projects. I'm very pleased today to be joined by Shargiil Bashir, who is the Executive Vice President and Chief Sustainability Officer at First Abu Dhabi Bank. Welcome, Shargiil.
Thank you so much for having me, Harry.
Fantastic. So first of all, what financial instruments exist to move projects from conception to execution?
I think, Harry, it's important to take a step back first of all and think about that it's not only the commercial banks that are able to support on moving the projects from conception to execution. We have the kind of the multilateral development banks, we have governments, we have global funds that can support on innovation and the topic of sustainability and making sure that we can truly move the projects to the execution phase. The banks, of course, have the traditional financial instruments that we can support with. These can be loans, credit lines, guarantees, etc., that can support on execution here as well. And when we are speaking about the sustainability, as we are seeing more and more sustainable and renewable projects coming through, that how can we transition to a more and a low carbon future, it's focused around green loans. It can be green bonds, it can be sustainability linked loans or sustainable bonds that are the instruments that can support acceleration of these projects and moving towards a low carbon future.
Fantastic. Yeah, really interesting to hear about the entire financial industry at play and the multitude of opportunities available. In terms of financing SAF projects, what is the importance of financial institutions in scaling these SAF production facilities?
I think that the financial institutions and the whole financial industry plays a key role in this transition. And I think it's extremely important to remember that in order to achieve net zero by 2050, we need to transition all industries towards a low carbon future. And when we look at it specifically, we know that the aviation industry is an industry that have high level of emissions, and especially so much is linked to this aviation industry. We can look into transportation, we can look into tourism, so it has so important impact. And this is as an example where we need the SAF production to really scale up. I think that according to IATA, we need more than 400 million liters of SAF by 2050. And this is where the banks can support and really start the transition. We can do this by becoming a player by providing debt to the SAF project specifically. So we can move this to a scale that is really important. This needs to again happen through a collaboration with the development banks. This can happen together with the policymakers. It can happen with the players with the aviation sector specifically, who can really support and bring all these actors together to support on that transition.
Absolutely, and I think the topic of tourism is certainly of interest there as well. From your side of things, how can a program supported by the government enhance the flow of capital into these new technologies that you're talking about?
I think from a government perspective, I think we need to ensure that we have the policymakers that are supporting on the transition. And we are slowly seeing this coming through. We have seen this happening in Europe. We have seen this in the US with the IRA program that was launched not too long ago, that is supporting on more and more sustainable projects, but also on sustainable behavior. So I think that we are seeing the policymakers now finding the different ways to incentivize a more sustainable behavior, both for corporates but also individuals. We need to make sure that the plans that get put together can support all kind of projects, especially to the hard to abate sectors and industries, support the sectors like aviation, which we know that is critical for the global trade as well, and support the global economy, but at the same time can do it in a more sustainable and a way where we can reduce the emissions as well. So I think that the governments play a key role by finding those way of either creating incentive, but also through policymaking.
Absolutely, and to go back to your earlier point, when you and the final question of this series, when you spoke about the importance of scaling up and those opportunities for transition, how can the finance industry help to drive project development to these all but crucial final investment decisions?
Absolutely, and I also think that it's important to remember that we do already have so many good and green projects out there, and by the governments coming in supporting again through multiple ways through creating incentives or providing the right policies, etc., can really support on de-risking these green projects, so we can make them bankable, so we can get everybody in the industry to come and support these projects. Because end of the day, I don't think there are banks out there that don't want to support the transition and sustainable projects. We just all need to make sure that they're aligned with the policy making so we can see which direction this is going to and make sure that those are bankable so they create value for all different stakeholders.
Fantastic, yeah, and yeah, brilliant to hear the interest in the financial community in scaling up these projects. Well, that concludes my questions today. Shargiil, thank you so much for your time today, and yeah, thank you very much.